Hey, what's up, boys? This video is for those who are a little bit more socially withdrawn. You find yourself pissed that your life has no interesting events and wish for better relationships. It's also for those who listen to these self-improvement gurus who tell you to focus on one task only because essentialism type beat. The circle with all the arrows, and if you only focus on one endeavor, then you get remarkably good at that, and that's how you move towards success. The problem I found with that is I started using that as an excuse to avoid day-to-day tasks. I started to avoid taking responsibility for other people and doing acts that serve people. If we take that advice, we'll start dismissing doing anything else except focusing on that one thing. But we fail to realize that life isn't just about doing what we want. And life isn't just about our goals and making progress, because we start to feel miserable after a while as it affects our relationships, and everything else feels like a waste of time. I can't sit with my parents without feeling like I'm wasting time. I'll stop myself from meeting a new person and developing a relationship there because I would immediately deem it as a waste of my time because it doesn't fit my goals, right? But it actually does, because my goals do involve having better social relations and having more interesting events in my life. So I thought that by focusing on my goals, it would bring me to the realm of success, and then from there, then everybody would want to pay attention from me, and then I'll create my relationships there instead of focusing on building story and picking up responsibility and building my character in day-to-day life, and from there building the relationships that I want. These two types of people that I just discussed generally like to avoid errands, day-to-day tasks, fundamental tasks, taking responsibility for other people. You probably don't like to go out alone and go and visit your relatives and friends, and you find it a hassle to, deliver something to your friend, or go out and buy groceries, or cook a meal for your family to eat. All these don't fit your goals, and these are a waste of time. And if you're more on the socially withdrawn side, all these little day-to-day tasks feel useless, and you convince yourself what's the point anyway, right? I want to talk about how these day-to-day tasks, these errands that don't fit your goals, are not a waste of time, but instead where the story lies. And I believe that the momentum from that reduced laziness and actually doing them will actually supplement your goals, because it's like productive momentum. And I want to suggest that avoiding these errands could just be laziness and fear. For those who are socially withdrawn and gave up because the wonderful relationships and interesting events never came to you, if you're choosing to live on despite your cynicism and your nihilism, means a small part of you probably holds on to hope that these things will eventually someday somehow come to you. You haven't given up. That would mean death. You're just not trying because failure and rejection is just too painful and scary. Alfred Adler believed that all problems we have are interpersonal relationship problems. And what that means, according to Adler, is every time we enter a conflict or argue with someone, the root cause is the perception we have of ourselves in relation to other people. So in short, what that will mean is being socially withdrawn doesn't mean you don't want that human connection. It just means you don't have the means to find it. You're too afraid of trying to find it, and it's probably the easiest method you have to cope with the perception of the world you have. While searching for evidence to back this video, I came across this article which I really liked. It really touched my balls, sensually. This is written by Greg Crack in 2015. As you get organized for your day, in the morning you may begin to make a mental list of the things you need to do, or maybe you make a physical list. Some of what you need to do may involve leaving your home and venturing out into the world. Generally, we don't look forward to errands in the same way we might look forward to a concert or dinner at a nice restaurant. So we often go through our errands with a task-oriented determination and define success by how quickly we get everything done. We want as much time as possible for those activities that we truly enjoy. But when we start to see our errands as opportunities for presence, engagement, and even joy, we are living with greater vitality and deriving greater satisfaction. Being efficient is not the only sign of a successful errand trip. Isn't that pretty fucking cool and well written? Like, my balls are literally, they're squelching up and about to pump some liquids. You know what I'm saying? And Mr. Greg Frick tells us not to ruminate when doing errands. Instead, notice how the loaves of bread are displayed in the bakery window. Make note of the graphic signs at the pet food store and the artwork at the bank. Rather than daydream, Notice the name tag of your cashier, the fragrance in the deli and the sounds of life around you. Notice something new in your own neighborhood as you drive around. We feel more alive when we are present. He reminds us of little things like if you're running errands, you will find yourself in front of a lot of counters, and behind those counters are human beings. Many of them are not here because they love their job. They are here because they need money. Their interactions with people are brief and often involve only the most functional exchanges. So you have a great 60-second opportunity to bring some joy into their day. Say something to them instead of the habitual "how are you?" Ask them something about their day, compliment them on their hair or eyeglasses or bracelet. Ask them if they like their name. Take a risk and ask them if they have something they're looking forward to do this weekend. The more you pay attention, engage and ask questions, the more likely you will learn something new. Be curious, learn something you didn't know when you left your home. I think that these little things we pick up in running errands will add to our story. These errands will act as supplements to our day-to-day interactions. Every time we learn more about the details of the little things, our conversations start to have more and more potential. The author concluded his article with this: even in our high technology world, errands are a part of life, but they don't have to be boring or tedious. Even if there's something we'd rather be doing, we can make each errand a small adventure. We can challenge ourselves to find ways of connecting, engaging, learning and making a contribution. I think that running errands that don't fit your goals is not a waste of time. That momentum of less laziness will actually contribute to your goals, in my opinion, and that's what I've experienced. If or when you find that connecting with people and seeking out fulfilling tasks and responsibilities is what you truly want, then we must challenge our tendency for inaction. There's this chronic resistance to our tasks. We make up a lot of reasons why doing the task will be a waste of time. And we need to focus on something else because we don't have enough time, and we need to save that time for the things that we truly enjoy or is truly important. I think that things that are meaningful, fulfilling and thoroughly enjoyable may not seem so before doing it, and sometimes may not even seem so while doing it. But when we look back on those tasks and events, sometimes they become our most cherished memories. We must never think that we are above these little day-to-day errands. They are what make us human, and they are what help us connect with other people. We must make our bed, buy groceries, go on a walk, pick things up from another person's house, visit your friends and relatives' home, take responsibility for somebody else's well-being and health, study something random to beat your friends in an argument in. The list goes on. These little fundamental funny tasks, even if we think it's what we need, we won't be able to entirely orient our lives around one endeavor. And we can't develop this mindset of compulsively avoiding everything that is not heading towards our goals. If you only focus on what you want and you don't make sacrifices in order to please another person at all because you think that's pointless, and you only focus on your goals and what makes you progress, will affect your relationships. It will impede your sense of belonging to the world. And you don't develop character by avoiding your day-to-day tasks and just focusing on the things that make you progress. You don't develop character by avoiding speaking to people, deeming everything as a waste of time. How do we know that our judgment is right and that event is a waste of time? Maybe we are way too young to judge what a waste of time is. Instead, maybe we can shift the focus to try to look at what the people around us want. We can focus on getting the fundamental tasks done by ourselves or together with others. That's where the story lies. That's where the bonds are. I don't think this is entirely what he meant, but Chris Williamson quoted something like this that I saw on a Instagram reel. The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. Sure, we will make time for our goals, absolutely, that's important as fuck. But we must never forget about serving others, our day-to-day errands and the little tasks we deem to be unimportant. Because that's where the beauty lies. That's where the meaningful and fulfilling and wonderful relationships you'll find in your life is. That's where the stories that you tell your grandkids are. If you're feeling miserable and you're similar to the kind of people I described in the start, you're socially withdrawn or you're overly obsessed over one goal and everything else feels like a waste of time. I think what might help a person like that is if that person makes a sacrifice and helps someone unconditionally, even if they might have hatred for the world and things like that. And then you see their face light up in appreciation, and as you give back unconditionally to the world, you start to kind of subconsciously and selectively see people giving back to you. That's what I've experienced, and I think that would really, really help with how you're feeling right now. Of course, some people might need the opposite. They need to start prioritizing themselves, and maybe they have too many people pleaser tendencies. They have some weird obsession with, I have to be the one to give and sacrifice, and then they start getting resentful. That's a whole different problem and a whole different type of person. So according to what you need, you try and see how you feel about it. Alright, I love you. Good luck. It's a better world.